Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw devastating floods, destroying Red's capital, India's capital, Mesopotamia Lime's capital, Morocco's capital, and Rome's capital, and also many more floods all around the world, just like this new lake here, and the Suez Canal being expanded. This is the first episode of the medieval era, so that's pretty cool, but we're going to build off of what just happened and see what happens. There is a hole here from my how to make videos like me. I did not fix it apparently. There we go. There it's fixed. Let's move on to see what happens. So the first thing that we'll see happen is the countries who lost their capitals are obviously going to move their capitals. So Rome's capital is going to go from right here all the way over to about modern day Rome. I'm pretty sure it's about there. Morocco is going to move theirs over to here. Actually, I think it would be a bit more realistic for them to move it to here. Mesopotamia Lime will take their capital, and they're probably going to move it just east of the Jordan. You can't really see it here, but it's right here. Yeah. Red's going to take their capital. This one's a hard one, because would they move it to, like, one of their older cities, or would they move it to a more strategic area, like right next to this new lake in between the Euphrates and Tigris, in a bit more of an unstable area? Not so unstable that it will, like, turn into another civil war, but it's definitely an unstable area. So, I think they're just going to end up placing it, let's go here. It's in between the rivers, I believe. No, it is not in between the rivers, so they're going to move it right here. This is in between the rivers. Jesus. All right, but next up we're going to move into India, see where they're going to move their capital. They lost a lot of major cities down here, including their capital. But these black little dots, those are major cities that were destroyed in this. So obviously over here we can see that there's an island over here. And don't worry, these floods will eventually recede in some way. Maybe not all of them. That is why I do have a flooded lands layer, so I can see all the lands that were flooded. But like this little black dot is like just any major city that was destroyed. And that could go for anything. Let's say there was a nuking of a major city, and that would make it black. Or, like, there was some sieging, which made it black. India will move their capital up here to this central borough. This is a very economic place. They probably would have swapped it even before this little epidemic happened here. I believe that's everyone who got flooded. Yep, it should be. The next thing that we're going to see happen is the retaliation as to what these people are doing. So obviously, these flooded areas are very, very populated, especially like in India. Red, Mesopotamia Lime isn't too populated, but the Suez Canal, that was very, very populated. It was a great trading area, and yes, I know that is man-made. Shut up. This was a very populated area, the Strait of Gibraltar. There isn't as much trade as there is in, like, the modern world, because, you know, the Americas aren't discovered yet, but it is great to get from, like, Mesopotamia Lime all the way in through here up to, like, you know, the UK. Although, I don't know why you would want to live in the UK. That's a bit of a conflict-y area. But that was a major powerhouse, especially Rome. Rome is populated pretty much everywhere. Their metropolitan areas are massive for their cities. Not every single city. Like, these two cities probably don't have big metro... Actually, no, these used to be the capital. One of these two. So, I don't know. But what these people are doing is, you know, as I've been talking about, there's lots of people who live in these areas. So these countries are taking these people and they're having them move into big houses with other people. So, like, it's just like there's a lot of people living in one house or something. Like 2 to 4 families or so live inside of one house, where there's usually only one family, sometimes maybe 2, depending on, like, you know, where you live. But obviously that is not sanitary, and it's very, very true, because what is happening now is not good either. These floods displaced populations because these little population centers are now non-existent. However, there still are survivors and there are refugees. All the countries that had major floods, so that is Red, India, Mesopotamia Lime and the Nile, Rome, France, Morocco, Blue, and that's it, had a little bit of a refugee crisis. So what they did was they had, the government was like, you guys, you're going to have to move on to neighboring cities. However, if a bunch of people are living together in, like, this old time with bad diseases, That surely can't be good. I'm going to introduce a new layer here, and it's one we haven't seen yet, and I'm not sure if it will ever come back in the series. It probably will, I'm assuming, if I can find it. Here we are, the plague layer. That's right, there's a plague in the world right now, and that is because the refugee crisis is having a bunch of people living together in one spot, causing this terrible plague. It's pretty visual, but I will explain it here. So the darkest color here is where the plague is very bad. This darker color is, it's like the in-between, it's like mid. And this light color is like there's some people there. And then the non-color is just, there's no plague. Or at least not enough for, like, there could be like 1 or 2 people that have it. But how does this plague happen? It's because there's so many people living together in this one spot. And also over here inside of India, we could see that traders have been dropping it off. This follows the international trade route right here. You could see that. The world is unaware of this plague. They don't even know that it is existent. They know what a sickness is, they know what a disease is, however, they know what a concept of a plague is, but they've never experienced one. They don't really know what a plague is. And they also don't know that it's even happening right now. So yeah, this is what's happening in the world right now. It's not so good, but something even worse is about to happen. I know that a lot of you guys actually really like this country, and something bad is about to happen to this country. Which country is it exactly? Well, it's not red, it's not India, it's not blue, it's not Rome, but it's their very close neighbor, France. France is going to just break apart. They're going to fall. France is going to break apart into 4 different regions. Their core original regions is like the same government, and then there's these 2 breakaways down here in the south, the central one and then the southern one, and then there's this eastern one which was separated by the flood here. And why does this happen? Well, it's kind of obvious. Number 1, there's the flood, and then number 2, there is the plague. However, they don't really know about the plague just yet, so that's kind of not on the board for, why did this happen? So they are just saying that it was the flood that kind of just screwed everything up, because they lost some good major cities over here. These were good little tourist attractions. I guess from like Rome and Cyan, and they flooded. So that's kind of why they fell apart here, making these 3 new countries. They're not gonna fight him back. They're just gonna let him be. Yeah, and just by the way, these are border disputes between Spain and Catalonia. Catalonia claimed that land first, though, so I'm not going to say anything, but in my opinion, it's Catalonian. But Spain thinks it's theirs, or I guess Iberia at this point. Going down into Africa, we're going to see blue do something. They haven't done jack but during this series, but they're going to expand in Africa, and this is what they take. And why did I color this in a weird color? And that's because as soon as they moved in, they were like, no, actually, I don't really like this. I'm fine with what we had before. This is just going to cause instability to be moving into this place that doesn't fit our heritage, or heritage wouldn't really make sense, whatever. So they're quickly going to move out, but a new government will move in here, and they are a nomadic group. I'm going to change their color really quickly, but I only colored them in this kind of blue, just so that way, I could show that it was blue. I think they're going to be pink. Does pink look good? Maybe a little bit darker. Yeah, that's good. But these guys are nomadic. What does that mean? That basically just means that they like to move around a lot, and move around a lot they do. They explore into this way. This is probably the most amount of exploration into Africa that we've ever seen. They're going to follow around some river systems. They're going to end up finding Victoria Lake, and they're going to expand along, they're going to explore along that. They're going to also explore out this way a little bit, and they're going to end up finding a river here, and they're going to explore through the rest of that, and they're going to realize, oh man, that's stuff we already have, and then they're going to kind of just send more explorers in through here. They don't have to buy these explorers. These are just people that are exploring and sending the info back, so they're not going to like fall apart because they're exploring. But they're going to follow this river, and they're going to see this cool little lake in the distance, and they're going to go down that, and they're going to be like, whoa, this is great. And they're going to keep on exploring. They're going to find this one here. They're also going to find this river right there, and they're going to explore towards that. They're going to find this river here. They're going to explore towards that. And then they're going to try and keep on going north to find out where this is. And now they have a good relative existence of this, and they're going to explore the rest of this here. And as you can see, they're doing a lot of exploring. They're going to continue down this way, and they're going to try and go back up through here and just like explore all that stuff. And by the way, they're not paying for these guys to explore. They are just exploring because they like exploring. But anyway, right here, they're going to see the Comoros from there. And they're going to go and explore the Comoros. And from this most southern, eastern Comoros Island, they're going to see Madagascar. And they're going to explore the entire island of Madagascar. They do know that it's an island, so they're just going to keep on going south until they are done exploring it. And they do know that there is land west, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to go west and find this land. And they know that they have to go north to find their people, so they're going to continue going north to find their people. After that little regrouping, they're going to keep on going down because they have noticed the gradual westwardness of Africa, so they're assuming that it's eventually going to end, which it does. They eventually find South Africa, Cape Town, and once they start going up north again, they're going to stop, and they're just going to explore in this little area here. But that's after, like a long time. This has been happening, probably since the plague started. It's been a few years since that plague started. Like maybe 5 years or so. Because I don't know how they would explore that fast. But these guys, they're going to quickly abandon all this here. And instead, they're going to move around Victoria Lake. So the first thing they're going to do is set up like this big empire here. Oh god. Here. And once they're ready, they're going to continue moving down so that way they can form their second area. And they quickly abandon these two. And I don't know where these people would come from. Maybe Sudan, maybe Blue, not the Nile, because the Nile doesn't even know about Sudan yet. So, I mean, they know about this area, they just don't know that there's already a nation here. So probably blue, maybe a bit from red, but these are like free lands that they can grab. So that's what these people are going to do. The first piece of land to be grabbed is this one here. It's just looking, mighty fine. So this one is, it's gonna get set up pretty well, because this is where these guys came from, and this is, This is the original owners of this land, and this land was abandoned by them, so someone else came and took it over. We're also going to see someone move in here. They're going to be a dark little yellow color. Oh god. They're going to look like that. I think that's pretty good. But they will immediately expand, so that way they can meet up with these guys, and they'll become some sort of bestie little group or something. And just like that, we have Africa quickly getting filled up. However, we're not done just yet, because we're going to see some more states form. First state being an actual country. This is our first actual country on the map, minus probably a few islands. But this one is going to form in Madagascar, taking over all of Madagascar. They decided to make a few movies, about 4, I think. There's like these monkeys, and yeah, it's a pretty good movie, to be honest. We're also gonna see a South African country form. We're gonna have them be colored in. Oh shoot, what did I do? This South African country is gonna be some sort of cyan-y color. So this is what this country is going to look like. They're gonna look like that. Shoot, what are they gonna look like? There's no holes anywhere, I don't think. God, I gotta check for holes. There's no holes. I'm on the right layer. I just had to turn the tolerance down, but this is this country. It's a pretty big looking empire. They're not going to do much exploring. They're going to be a little bit, kind of, what's the word? Isolated. This next one will be southern Tanzania, and why is it southern? That's because India showed up to take their little piece. They create a little colony over here inside of, northern Tanzania. This is Tanzania, right? But I will refer to this as India's colony, and this as southern Tanzania, if I can pronounce it. But India hopped over here because they heard about all the commotion in Africa, and how there's these cool new supplies, so they wanted to go check it out. But it's kind of funny how the country that started all of this is now the smallest country in Africa. Africa is now becoming very, very popular. The first ever country was the Nile, and it started out as like a little major city or something, I think. I can't even remember, jeez. But now we have all these countries. Some countries are irrelevant, like this Algerian country. This guy hasn't done anything. Well, to be fair, they only formed like an episode or so ago. But this country, they're going to do some stuff. They're going to explore a little bit. Obviously, they haven't heard about what's been happening down in, like, this area, so they aren't going to do that in like retaliation or anything, but they will explore just a little bit to expand. They're gonna find this Gambia River here, and they're going to continue exploring down towards the southern area, And then after that, they're going to just explore a little bit inland and then come back. But they're not going to take the exact same route, of course, so they do get a little bit more exploration from that. And after that, they're going to be like, okay, it's safe to expand now. There's no threats in the area. But they're going to expand a little bit southward. They're going to go until this river here. And just like that, they're going to get a little bit longer. Let me really quickly do capitals and major cities here. These are capitals and major cities in this area. Quick reminder here, I don't remember what my... if you guys have any ideas or any suggestions or anything in general that you want to see happen inside of this series, please just comment down below and let me know, because I am feeling very free to do any ideas that you guys have, as long as they're not, like, insanely unrealistic. You know, so it can't be like, oh, I want India to go to the moon next episode. Speaking of India, they do, in fact, have a lot of the plague. If I can find the plague layer. Why is it so hidden? Here we are. They have a lot of the plague, and they just made up a colony inside of Africa, which was completely free of the plague. But now they do have a bit of the plague. Obviously, it hasn't spread into any other countries yet, but that's just because we haven't actually seen any, trade between these guys just yet, because that's still being set up, because all this is very, very new. It was kind of rushed here. But inside of India's major cities here, we see the plague up here. So that's no fun. Anyway, going back over to West Africa, we're going to see another country form. I know, we're just on on a, whatever you call it, on a rampage. What? I think that makes sense. We're also going to see a new country form. I know we're seeing a lot of new countries form, but that's just realistic, okay? If I can get the fill to work, they can form. But this is going to be this little pink country. The backstory behind this, I guess, would be, there were people inside of West Africa, and these were like the explorers and stuff. But after exploring, they wanted to form their own little country because they liked this little area. I mean, to be fair, they are surrounded by two little rivers here, so that's good for them. But they are going to move there, and they're just going to exist here. Major city-wise, they're only going to ever have one. I mean, they're going to have one right now, and it's right at the Gambia River, and that will also be their capital because it's their only major city, as I said. I just realized I didn't do West Africa's new major cities. It's going to be like that, and we're going to see one right there, and also one right there. Anyway, we're going to move back up to Britain, and we're going to see another war happen here. This is going to be a little coalition, I guess. Our first ever coalition. It's pretty cool. But this corn place, whatever, they're gonna send a little letter through here. Actually, no, they couldn't go through here. They would go through the Northern Sea, and they're gonna go up to Scotland. They're gonna be like, yo, you want to help me jump this central? You want to help me jump England? And they're like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. So they're gonna go and jump England. Corn place, whatever, what's this place called? This corn place, whatever, is going to be the first place to move, and they're going to capture that major city. Oh, God. They're going to capture this major city here, and then this Scotland place is going to move down through here and grab this major city. And now that these guys are like, oh, crap, we're being jumped, they're going to just push these guys back, push these guys back. It's pretty deadly, pretty bad, pretty deadly. But then we're going to see them start pushing into these guys, so it's like a reverse coalition now. But they're going to first push into here, grab this major city, and they're going to get stalemated for just a little bit. But these guys, they're going to get Isle of Man captured, and they're going to use that as their little military base, because I believe there's a military base there. No, there's not a military base there. They don't even have military. Oh, I haven't done the military bases inside of Scotland. But they're going to move into Scotland, and they're going to grab their capital. They're also going to grab a major city while they're at it, and they're going to keep on pushing up here, and they're going to surrender. Yeah, Scotland's going to surrender, and Corn Place is going to just look at them and go, dude, what the heck? But now that they're just focused in on here, they're going to be able to not easily, but easierly push in through here, and they're going to make a naval landing, from, like, here to here, and they're going to land here, push down through here, cutting them in two, which will allow this side to have an easier push through this way, and they're going to finally just get rid of them in their capital. And for the peace treaty, it's pretty simple. They just annex this entire place, so everything here is now their territory. And just like that, for the first time ever, Britain is unified. I better be able to find enough colors for this. Well, that lasted a while. Ireland, yes, I'm calling them Ireland now, I don't care, you'll see why in a second. Ireland is not able to hold these guys together, because why would you be able to? But these guys are also going to just start fighting them, and immediately we're going to see these guys, this place here, move in. I think it's only going to be this one here that declares war, but they're going to move in here, capture the capital, and the reason I'm doing it in this color and not a lighter color is because that's how it's going to end. I know for a fact that that's how it's going to end. But just like that, their capital here is captured, and they're going to have to take it, and they're going to have to move it. That's right, they're moving their capital to Dublin, and if you haven't seen the regions in this area, it's very set up in that way. Yeah, look, everything inside of Ireland is just surrounding Dublin, and the same thing goes for the provinces. You can see that it's a little circle here inside of Dublin, and then there's a bigger circle and a bigger circle and a bigger circle. There's very small provinces here. Yeah, it's cool. But just like that, Britain is ununified once again. I don't think we're ever going to have an episode where they're actually going to end unified. Actually, we probably will at some point. I lied. But yeah, this is what the world looked like now here. But we're also going to see a few more short little wars. This guy, this whatever color this is going to declare war on New Scotland. This like gray one. And they're going to move in through here, and they're going to declare white peace. Whichever side will be declaring white peace. I'm not sure which one would. And they're going to draw the peace treaty. Inside of this peace treaty, Scotland loses a region, and Scotland is back to the former Scotland that was here before it. So that's cool. Faroe Islands are discovered. Not this one. I'm not sure which one is which, but these two islands here, they're discovered, by the way, and they're owned by this country. But we're going to move into Asia now, this far away, and we're going to move over here as we see Korea explore. They're going to move into this northern island here. I don't know what it's called. I'm not from Japan, and if you want to yell at me for that, that's okay, because I'm not from Japan. But they're going to explore all this. They're going to land on this island, explore that, and then they're going to move to this island. They're also going to move to this northern island here. They're only going to touch up on it. They're not going to find a real need to move there, and that's because they're going to form a country. No, it's not Korea expanding. It's just going to be a new country here. And I'm going to do their major cities really quickly. I just realized I haven't even done major cities right here, so I'm going to have to do 2 sets of major cities. But for this guy's capital up here, I think it's going to be right here, in this little spot there. So here we go. I'm actually also going to place a major city right there. But this is what these major cities in this region look like. It's pretty cool looking, I know. Speaking of Korea, they're also going to do some more expanding. This time they're going to explore westward, and they're going to explore very, very far. They're going to look out in Manchuria. And don't ask me how everyone this episode is exploring so well. I'm honestly not sure. But can you please just ignore that, because I don't want you guys to care about that. They're also going to explore around this little bay here. That's not them. That's a new country that's going to form in just like a little bit. So make sure to look out for that. Taiwan is discovered. That's pretty cool. But Korea is going to expand further inland. I know this is a big expansion, but that's what they're going to be doing. So that sucks for you, doesn't it? So you could pretty easily tell what used to be there. So it kind of went like this. There was like a river there. But now they're really, really big. You can even call it a Korean empire. They're probably catching up to, I don't know who they'd be catching up to. I don't know. But I'm not going to do, actually, I will do major cities here, only because I feel like it. You guys should be lucky that I keep on doing these major cities. I don't have to. I could be like, just ignoring the major city part. But obviously, these don't just appear out of thin air. They will just be working on them for like a little while, after they move in for a bit. So this is across the rest of the episode. These major cities will pop up here. And that's because, population boom. Whoa. And that's because of population booms. Don't ask me how those are happening right now, during a plague. God, I don't like this plague. Stop asking questions. How about that? If Vietnam's going to do something, they haven't done anything since they expanded like a few episodes ago. They're going to go down through here. They kind of ignored this when they first kind of like discovered this area. But now they're going to not ignore it, and they're going to go down through it. And they're going to see what is down here, because they know it's a peninsula, because they've been around the sea. And what they're going to find is the Malaccan Strait. And they're going to be like, ooh, doggy, this is going to be good for us. They're going to island hop. They're going to make it over to Malaysia and Brunei, and now all of Malaysia, I'm pretty sure, has been discovered. Maybe not this part. They're gonna hop up to the Philippines. They're gonna discover some of these islands here, and they're slowly but surely are going to discover that these goes from India through there, through here, up through here, and then through there, up all the way to Korea. And they're like, yo, guys. And they make a conference inside of their capital. And they have a conference with India and Korea, and they start talking. They're going to make an international trade route that runs from India's capital through the Malaccan Strait, up through this area past Taiwan, and then into Korea's capital, and then into Japan's capital. Japan was also called into that meeting, by the way. But Vietnam, Vietnam is going to make a little colony over here. So this little colony is going to help Vietnam actually, be something for once. Let's check out this trade route. Obviously, there's no building needed for making a water trade route, only harbors, of course. But otherwise, there's no building needed because it's just like it happens, and you deal with it. But this trade route expands through here, and it goes all the way through here. Where would it go at this point? They're going to somehow avoid these islands here. I don't know how they would do this. I'll just say that these are discovered, these islands. But this trade route is going to look like this. It's going to go all the way through here, and there's also a little fork in the road. You could go to Vietnam's capital and travel the rest by foot, or you could go through the water, continue through that way. So to be honest, Vietnam only gets benefits right here, not in their capital. However, that's fine because, jeez, oh my god. This is a good area here. And these are the finished trade routes over here. But otherwise, in the rest of the world, actually, this is in the same area. We're going to see more exploration by this new country that I was hinting at. And they're going to explore a little bit more inwards. And what color will I get for them? I'm going to make them this little bit of a light color. They're going to be this color. You guys like that? But they're going to form around this little area here. I bet there's rivers I can follow. Yeah, there's rivers I can follow. I don't like them, though. I like this river. They're going to form here. I don't really like that color so much. Let me know if you guys also don't like this color. I can change it. They're also going to expand the rest of around this bay, because that's the only reason they formed this new bay here. And I'm going to do their major cities and stuff. But this is what they're going to look like after that. I really don't like this color. Give me a new color, guys. I'm not going to do the trade routes because I don't want to. So that sucks for you guys. We're going to see Laos form. Jeez, they're not going to form like that. Turns out I accidentally drew them on the wrong layer. Uh-oh. Here is Laos. I'm going to call them that. I don't know. That's more Cambodia. I'm going to call them Cambodia. Because Laos is like up here, but Cambodia is like over here. This is Vietnam. It's more like a southern Vietnam. Vietnam's more positioned up towards this way. But this little area here, that's kind of Vietnam-y. Their capital isn't even... Whatever. They're Vietnam, okay? We're also going to see Bangladesh form. I'm really running out of colors. What about a nice-looking seafoam green? Here's Bangladesh. They run along a lot of rivers here. I'm going to give them their major cities now. So, lucky then, they form along giant opening of rivers. And their capital will be at this giant connection of these rivers. And just like that, we have Bangladesh. That's a nice looking color. That's like seafoam green, I think. But some really ambitious dude, probably from Korea, because Korea is just ambitious like that. He's gonna form this massive army. I don't even know if this would be like legal or anything. But he is going to do what happened over here inside of wherever it is, inside of this place, this country, and he's just going to plow through central, Asia, and he demands that, if he goes westward, he will eventually find the old world, which is, in this case, Mesopotamia, if I can move, and he will just move through the world. So he's going to push through here. He is going to just form up like this. He's going to find this little river here, and he's going to follow it, and he's going to go around there, and he's going to keep on pushing westward until he finds this little lake here, and he's going to explore around that. I don't know how many episodes this would be across. This is across a little while. This episode lasts about probably, I'd say, maybe even a century or so. So the plague, obviously, it isn't, deadly that's going to kill immediately. Is just like some sickness that weakens you, I guess. I don't know. But he's going to keep on pushing through here. He is demanding that they eventually will find it. He's going to find this desert, and he's going to wander off a little bit. He finds this this lake, and that's only because he started going southward a little bit and he saw it by sight. He didn't just run into it. But he's going to keep on pushing forward, and he's going to find this lake here, which has been drying up. It's kind of sad. And then, all of a sudden, he runs into the Caspian. And after that, he's just going to expand around this way. And we're going to see more of the Himalayas. Just, this area is just discovered more. And we are going to slowly but surely see more exploration from all different types of countries, just explore inward more. Everything around the Himalayas has now been explored, and this little eastern part there has been explored fully, meaning yes, people have gone into the Himalayas, and slowly but surely they're just going to keep on pushing in through here as they explore more and more. Just because I don't want a giant gray dot, I'm just going to say that they explored it. This could be throughout the, multiple episodes of that little central exploration, but for just time's sake, I'm going to say that was just explored now. Now, what is this dude doing exactly? Well, he is doing all that so that way he can form his own empire. Everyone say hello to the Mongolian Empire. The Mongolian Empire is going to start out where he kind of started over here, and he's going to expand, and if you couldn't already tell, I am not doing the borders how I usually do them by drawing with a pencil. That's because he's just going to be doing like this, and that's because he's not so strong, so I may or may not be implying that he will fall apart soon. But he reaches all the way over to the Caspian, and he's very, very, biggest country on Earth type. And he's just going to, look like this. It's not really pretty, but hey, at least now the old world is kind of connected to this, new world, if that's what you want to call it. But now he is a massive Mongolian empire, and if there's anything you know about the Mongolian Empire, as soon as their leader dies, they fall apart, and that's what happens in this case. However, he doesn't die. It's just, you obviously can't do this. What the heck is this? This isn't possible. So, I'm going to go through here, refine these borders, and then I'm going to have them fall apart into a billion pieces. But this is the refined little mess. And I don't know what this guy was doing, to be honest. It's obviously going to fall apart. And Red's like, what's happening at our borders? Because the biggest country in the world is now existent. It's not going to be the biggest country for long. Look at it. You could literally see the mark that it leaves when it's zoomed out to 1%. But let's see this thing fall apart, because this is going to be pretty dang exciting. I don't know if it will be. Is it? These are all of the borders that follow along rivers, and no, this is not the final project. So this really hurts my eyes, but this is what they look like when they fell apart. Yes, they do still exist right over here, where they kind of started. But now we have whatever the heck this is. I think there's too many countries, to be honest. I might have to do some stuff. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. But these are some massive countries, especially this central one. Do they like each other? I'm going to say no. Not in a way that, not in, a red versus green way, but, they don't like each other in a France versus Germany way. But that's, at this point, is not so high, But these borders are looking madly ugly. It's just some border gore in, all places. We have weird panhandles, especially in this area. So let's hope these guys do eventually get a red versus green relationship so that way they can go to war and fix up these borders. And there's no way I'm doing major cities and capital cities and provinces right now. And here's a little hint, nothing else happens with these guys for the next episode, for the rest of the episode, because it was at the beginning of the episode that these guys kind of just expanded, and then it was at the end of the episode that they finished expanding. They were expanding, then they explored, then they whatever they did, they expanded, then they explored, then they they explored, then they expanded, then they fell apart. That's what it's like. But Green sees this, and they get a little bit jealous, and they're going to expand. So Green, they're taking back the land that they had lost. They lost this land, not this land. But they're taking back, they're going to try and take back an equivalent of the land that they lost. But now, we're going to move up into Europe, and we're going to see some more exploration. If you couldn't already tell, this is a pretty big episode for, exploration and stuff. At the beginning of this episode, half the map was just blank, and now we have Africa getting really filled up, Asia's getting filled up, Central Asia, I'm just gonna not say anything, but Ukraine here is going to expand into Ukraine. That's right, this is a normal expansion, nothing like what we just saw, but they're going to expand into Ukraine. That's why I've been calling them Ukraine, just by the way, and I also don't feel like doing the major cities, so that sucks for you guys. However, I will refine these borders because they are not looking good. Just a reminder, this is a orange rebellion from Lime, and Lime has been trying to expand their entire lifetime, and they just saw them do all this in like a split second. They're like, what the heck? Yeah, that's because they actually know how to run a country, unlike any of these Caucasian people. I mean, Maroon knows how to run a country, but it's just Lime, to be honest. But we're going to see Russia get explored a little bit. By a little bit, I mean like a lot. Almost Moscow region. Actually, I'm pretty sure we're at the Moscow region by this point. But now all of Europe is explored besides the Alps. But speaking of the Alps, I'm going to say that they've been explored. Just to say that all of Europe, ignore this, is going to be explored later in the episode. Most of Europe has been explored. We're going to see our first ever landlocked country. Wait, never mind. Actually, I really take that back. There's a lot of landlocked countries. We're going to see a landlocked country form. What color will they be? I'm going to make them just gray. Like pure gray. I think that's pretty good. This is what this little Russian country will look like. And these are like this is mostly migrations from from Cyan, some from Rome, who's like been heavily hit, but most of it is from Denmark and Germany and Norway, and that collectiveness makes a country. And it looks like this is just unexplored area, but it is not unexplored area, I assure you. But we're going to see a not a Polish. We're gonna get like some nice little light color for this one. I'm gonna get like a pink salmon. Let's go with that. We're gonna see a Finnish country form here. Yep, they're going to be here, but they're also going to like have most of their main population down in this southern area, but there's also population in the north, and they have a little bit of St. Petersburg right there. They're also going to take these two islands, and they're going to become like besties with Norway and Denmark, and we're going to see a Polish state form. Let's get a nice looking I'm running out of colors. We're going to get a little bit of a dark blue going on here, and this is what our Polish country will look like. We're also going to see Cyan's, whatever this is called, puppet state expand, but now their puppet state actually looks like a real country, or well, existing thing, and not just a weird little thing shoved into Greenland. I mean, Germany. What? We're going to see a second Russian country form, and this is going to be our little Russian country right here. And both states, or yeah, I guess states, are weakened by this plague. And yes, I'm done with drawing the plague, and it's so annoying to draw. But these are weakened by the plague, and they also kind of hate each other because they're like, I'm the true country here, I should only exist, not you. And then the other one does the exact same thing. But now we're going to see something that is not chaos or disagreements or a new country. Instead, it's going to be some sort of agreement between Rome and this little orange country. And what's going to happen here? Well, let me explain. They're going to have a little meeting inside of Orange's capital. The leader of Rome will just kind of fly through here. Well, they can't fly, but they're going to meet inside of Orange's capital, and they're going to make a little agreement. Rome and Orange divide a little sort of line here in Turkey, and that's basically where we can expand into. You can't expand further than that line, and I can't expand further than that line. And if someone makes it there first, well, then that sucks, because they get it. And inside of this agreement here, they both agree, and right as soon as the meeting ends, they're both walking out. Rome's leader turns around and says, wait, and they make one more agreement. This is a non-aggression pact. Rome will defend Orange. It's a defension back, or whatever that is. But Orange will pay Rome annually to have them be basically allies at this point. Speaking of allies, we're going to see some alliances fall apart. Number one, I think this is kind of obvious, but Green's alliance. That's because their Moroccan friend is, non-existent, and so is their pink friend. Well, their Moroccan friend is existent, except they don't want to be in this, and then also Spain leaves because they only joined for protection against Morocco. We're going to see that India and Red hold together pretty well. They're just going to stay inside of this alliance. However, we will see India join in on their economic alliance. However, we see this country here also leave this economic alliance, and so does the Nile. And that's because they're abandoning red and all that, and they're forming their own little thing. They're going to form the Diamond Alliance. Yep, that's right. They're the only countries in it, though. So that's a thing. And the final thing that we see happen is these two up here in the north. They're both going to leave the Star Economic Alliance. And that is it. Yes, this is a defensive pact. Speaking of defensive pact, actually, I can just draw the border here, I just realized. So here's the border. Actually, no, I don't like that border. Here is the border. Yes, I did just make Rome lose land in that agreement, and that's because, well, look at Rome, and look at Orange. Anyway, we're gonna move just down a little bit, and, whatever country this is, Mesopotamia Lime, is going to go to Red's capital, which is a short little walk now, and they're going to talk to them about a little agreement. This agreement I'm not going to talk about, or I'm not going to tell you directly, but I'm going to show you. Inside of this agreement, we see this happen. Yep, that's right, a unification. Mesopotamia Lime will unify with Red, creating Red get access to, Mediterranean. And they do that because Lime is weakened. They're very, very weak. They're crippled after what happened over here. So they are going to unify with Red. But now that the Nile and Sudan are besties, the Nile is going to expand south along the Nile. How could I guess? How could you guess? But now that they're touching, they're going to become even more besties, and they're going to trade with each other and everything. And the Suez Canal is like an open thing now. It's not like just a small little pretty much dried up river anymore. It's a full-on, like, flowing thing. But we're gonna see a little kind of whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. Libya. Yep, we're gonna see Libyan state form here. I'm using orange way too much this episode. I'm gonna have to change this color. But they're small, starting off. I'm gonna have them expand actually just a little bit, and then I'm going to change their color. They're gonna be a bit of a green. I like that. No, actually I don't like that. I'm gonna make them... What about a maroon? A nice little maroon. I don't think there's any maroons just yet. Yeah, that's pretty good. There's no maroons. Oh, no, there is maroons. Actually, I'm stupid. This is not Morocco, okay? You can see Morocco's a little bit more pink. This guy's capital will be, I'm not sure where it would be. I think it's going to be on this little peninsula here. That's pretty good for them. As for all these guys, there's going to be there, here, and these guys, which should have had a capital a while ago, it's gonna be there, and the reason that it's there is because, like, there's a nice looking lake, and it's just, trust me, and this one's going to be here. And as for these countries, I'm not doing it, I said. This Algerian country here, they're going to expand. Why? Because I said so, and now they are touching up with Rome. It's very hard to see them now, but you can see them nonetheless. Both these Russian states are going to go to war because they claim that they are the original Russia. But this Russia will push in through here, and I just realized since they don't have major cities, it's going to be a little bit hard. But they're going to push in like this, and this other one is going to push in like this, cutting off this little part here and taking it. And it's kind of just going to be a stalemate after that. Nothing else is going to happen. So they're going to decide to meet up and draw a peace treaty. Inside of this peace treaty, absolutely nothing happens because the land is the same valuability, I guess, if that makes sense. And they also got about the same amount of land in the north and in the south. So they decide on not changing the borders at all. Except now it's very tense here, and they hate each other. But the reason they went to war is because they both claim they were Russia. Or, I mean, well, obviously Russia doesn't exist in this timeline. I mean, they did at some point. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is they're both claiming that they were the real state, and there's a border dispute of the entire country for each of them. The rest of China is discovered. It's pretty cool. And now we see a lot of white on the map, which is very, very exciting in my opinion. I hate this gray. So ugly. But we're gonna work on the trade routes a little bit, so let's look at that. You know what, I might not do trade routes just because there's no major cities in some of these, because I need to, update that, of course. We're gonna see Rome expand into their little claim here, just a little bit though, not too much. Yeah, they're just gonna do that, and they're also going to do that. That's what they're gonna do. And these guys, they're also going to expand into this claim a little bit. The reason they're not expanding all at once is because they want to be careful and not fall apart. As you could tell, Rome has always been careful with that. They created cyan just so that way they wouldn't, expand too much after they heard about what happened to Orange. And now they're cooperating with Orange, but this isn't the same Orange. It's the same color. It's the same type of government. It's the same... You know what? This is Orange, probably. This is pretty much orange, except it's not where it used to be. It's in here now instead of over here. And crazy to think, I told you guys that orange would come back one day. That's because I've planned out everything. I know how the finale is. I know all of these other things that are happening. And I can't tell you because that would spoil everything. But I'm not going to do trade routes because that is just too hard without major cities. However, I'm going to say that trade routes were made. So there are, in fact, trade routes going through all these. And because the only reason I'm saying that is so that way I could, set up this next thing, which is the world discovers that there is a plague. They didn't know the concept of a plague before. They only knew what a disease or a sickness was. But now they know that there's a plague. And it's devastating this entire world. And they're going to have to figure out how to fix it. And fast, because it's spreading. What you see, here on this layer, this is nowhere near what it is anymore. It's all across this entire area because obviously this trade route was formed, and then that went through here, and then it was here, and then that guy caught the plague, and then he expanded through all this. All this is plagued, and the world's gonna have to try and figure out how to resolve this plague. So, number one, most of Africa is now explored. We also see a new country. I think this is new. I'm not sure if this little pink one is new, but it's called Gambia. Um, we also see Victoria is still here. I think this one might have expanded a little bit. India has a little claim, a little colony over here inside of Africa. The Nile and the Sudan, they both expanded inland, further inland. As you can see, most of the Sahara is now already explored. And then Libya also expanded southward. There was also a bit of tensions because the Nile and Sudan both wanted to border Rome. However, they could not border Rome because Libya is here. They knew of the area of Libya, but they were unaware that a country had settled there. We also saw down in India, floods receded. All of Sri Lanka is back, and because of how fertile this is, because it was just fully submerged underwater, they built multiple new major cities here. And this one is being currently rebuilt. This little one right here. However, it is not done being rebuilt yet, so I will not color it in that color. And now moving up into the Mongolian region. I think at this point we're gonna have new stuff. But we're gonna see some wars break out. So the first war we're going to see is wait, hold on. First, I have to talk about the trade routes. So what do we have to talk about the trade routes? Well, there is going to be a big trade route project that they have working on over here, and this is what's basically going to be happening this episode. So we're going to see our trade routes form. Number one, we're going to whatever it's called, internationalize, I guess, these trade routes up here. And they're going to go up around like this. And they're both going to meet up right here. After that, we're going to see this trade route shootout. And it's going to start going through here. And this is basically just like new trade route being built. It's going to go up through here. It's kind of practically touch every capital, I think. This is kind of where the capitals have been placed because of this. However, we do see multiple different, splits, forks in the roads. And they go through the panhandles a lot because that's kind of how it was built. And that's kind of the Silk Road. Basically, here's how it goes. It starts from right here and it goes through all this here. It goes through every single country's capital, I believe. It goes through all here, and then it kind of splits right there, and it goes like that. Then there's a little, connection back up together. However, the split stays, and the southern split goes straight through Green's capital, and the northern split splits once again, and the south part goes into Green's not capital. And the northern part goes through Cyan, which goes around down into Lime, up and around through Ukraine, and then into Rome, connecting the east to the west. There's also your normal trade routes that kind of just connect through here, and that's kind of how it's going. But anyway, turning off our trade routes here, we're going to see some wars break out. The first war is going to be between these two. As we can tell, but with this trade route, it goes through the Reds capital down through here, and Red, they want some water. I mean, they have water, I'm sure. However, they want this lake and they want more major cities, so they're going to move in and attack. This is a surprise attack, and this little country here, this little lime one, was not ready for this attack. They're going to move their troops in through here, and they're quickly going to put siege to the capital. They're also going to have another front breakout over here in the westernish area, and they're going to go towards this major city, and this country is already almost screwed because this giant thing is also going to declare war on them and just sneak in to take some land. They're going to move up to here, and they're not going to do much else, I'm sure. And that's a better color, I think. So that's what we see there. Red is going to try to start encircling the capital. However, that's going to be unsuccessful. But what they do, in fact, do is almost encircle it. However, they use the rest of the country as an advantage. So they enclose the capital. I guess it's not an encirclement; it's an enclosement. So this little thing is like not being reached, and they're going to just get captured like that. This little area will fall over, and this country will surrender. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. All three of them will meet over here in, I guess, blue, and they're going to devise up a peace treaty. And here's what the peace treaty will look like. This red one, they will get all of the country, and then this little one will get just that little area that they grabbed onto. And this is what the new borders here look like. Let me get rid of that capital. That should be demoted to a major city. Here we are, and this is what our new little area is looking like, with one less country than before. Next up, we're going to move over to here, and we're going to see that this Mongolian and this little blue country are both going to declare war on Korea. They're going to try and jump Korea. Korea isn't fully established up here yet. I'm not exactly sure when they moved in, but they're not 100% established. They have major cities and stuff. But they're going to get ready to prepare for war, and this is going to be a surprise attack by these northern countries. They're not allies, however, they're going to try and work together to jump Korea. The first thing we see is this country will move in and grab that little thing that they have, and they will grab one major city, splitting the country in two. This little blue thing isn't going to do much, however, they will move in here and grab a major city, and Korea finally gets their army up into the north area, and they are going to start fighting back. The first thing that they're going to do is push this army oh my god. The first thing that they're going to do is just push this army back, and they're going to push this army back as well. They're going to move into this northern country here, and they're going to grab around towards this major city, and they are going to just take this eastern side over. Then they're also going to move in right through here, and they're also going to move into the blue one, and they're going to take over a major city and move up towards the capital area, and this country will surrender, which will give them a good ground to push in through here. And as they sweep through, they will capture the capital, and this country will surrender. I don't know why these two thought they could even pull off something like this, but let's take a look at this peace treaty. Alright, so for this peace treaty, the first thing that we're going to talk about is how this country is just fully annexed, and this country is also fully annexed. I know, it's kind of sad to see that northerner country go, because they are the reason that all this happened. This is like where they started out, and then they moved all throughout there, and then they fell apart, and then they were shoved all the way back to here. But now we see Korea becoming very, very big. Don't forget about Japan, that's also under their control. So they are growing to become a very, very large country, and they're probably one of the top powers. Speaking of top powers, I'm going to do a quick rundown on our powers. So, number one will go to the one and only red team. They were very much so set back because of the flood and losing their capital. However, they still are, okay, because to be honest, they are off better because it's inside of, like Mesopotamia, like in middle Mesopotamia area, whatever. But number two will go to Rome. My handwriting sucks on this. Okay, there we go. One is red, two is Rome. And to be honest, I'd say that number three at this point is India still. Four, I would give that to Korea, I think. Korea. And five, that would go to Norway. Six would go to the Nile, I think. Seven would go to Spain. They're strong, but not so strong. Eight, that would be going to France. However, they are at 11 ever since they fell apart. Six is going to go to Vietnam. And the main reason for that is because, number one, they're just in an ideal spot. And then also they have the Strait of Malacca, I think it's called, which we have major trade routes from Africa, Central Asia, not Central Asia, this part of Asia, Middle East, and India all going through there. So that's why they're kind of in this position. 9, I would give that to Ireland. They are very strong, to be honest. Not very strong, but like they're pretty strong. They're not going to be touched, in my opinion. So yeah, lucky them. And then 10 would go to Sudan. So that's a big gap between, Sudan and their ally. However, Sudan is rather new. And if you want to see what would go further than that, 11 would go to France. I think I said that was France. 12 would go to blue. 13 would go to Laos. I don't know how to spell Laos, so I'm just going to call them Cambodia. But that's this little pink country, and that's because they are friends and trading partners with Vietnam. However, they're not like best friends or anything. 14 would go to Cyan, which is the one north of Rome. And 15, pretty surprisingly, honestly, I think most people would think they would be higher, is Germany. So we still see our same top 3 dominating, but Korea has been catching up. Honestly, before the floods, they were probably at like 8 or something. I don't know. But this is what it's looking like. And if you want to know, 16 would go to Libya, I think. Maybe Morocco. I think Morocco would go to 16. So that is our little thingy. I think it's fun to do little power rankings. I will do them a little bit more often than I do right now, but I haven't done them yet. I don't know why, but we will soon. We'll do them more. We do not have a lot of Eastern Asian countries, and I am aware of that. We have a bunch of Central Asian countries. However, Eastern Asia has not quite had their boom yet, because that boom has really just gone to these northern ones. Moving back into Africa, we're going to see some new states form. States, countries, whatever you can call them. I'd call them states. Or, no, I'm not going to call them states. Whatever. So the first one is going to be Ivory Coast, I guess. And Ivory Coast will be looking like this. This is a rather large one, in my opinion. It's pretty large. And then this second one is rather large, honestly. I forget what country is here. Liberia is more of like right about here, but like whatever, it's fine. Oh shoot. Alright, but moving out of Africa, for a little while, I think, we're going to move into red, or really their neighbors. These two countries right here are not really meant to be countries. The only reason they formed was because of green, and as we know, green is like, not as strong as they used to be, at least anymore. And these two are not able to function as actual countries, and they're going to fall into anarchy. The first one to do so is this one right here, and the second one to do so will be pink. And as soon as Red hears about this, Red is going to move into both these countries and take them both over. Just like that, the final rebellions of Red are gone, and now Red gets most of their coastline back, and that's pretty nice for them. So those governments collapsed internally, and they have like no functioning anymore because they are just not able to function as actual countries, and that's why they disappeared. And Red saw that opportunity and took them over. Next up, inside of Rome, we're going to see a top secret meeting happen. The press, it's not open to the press. Some of the higher ranking officials aren't even allowed to go. It's mainly just the highest ranking officials. And inside of this meeting, they talk about where they are putting their military, and it is along the border of certain country. A certain country. Try and guess which one that is. It could be African, which means it could be Algeria or Libya. It could be European, which means it could be cyan, or technically this little thing here, like through water and stuff. Or it could be Asian, but it probably wouldn't be the orange one because they have a defensive pact. And then it also could be whatever this is called, Ukraine. So try and make your guesses. But now we're going to move back into Europe, and we're going to see them fill in rapidly. These countries are going to expand and conquer, and expand and conquer. First, we're going to see Germany expand like a lot. Alrighty, so the first thing that we're going to be seeing happening in... Oh god, I screwed something up. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to see is this. Then we're going to move into Poland and see them expand like so. What is this? There we go, that's more like it. And these countries are becoming a little bit beefy. Moving into Cyan, we're going to see them take these two little areas. And you might be wondering why they didn't take over this. That's because we see a new country form here. Wait, no, we're not going to see a new country form here. My bad, guys, I'm doing this live. We're going to see Rome expand into there. and Rome will expand like so. The world is quickly, but surely, or surely quickly, the world is filling in. Moving over here, we're going to see some of the French countries expand, and like so, they're going to expand like that, and then this little orangish looking one will also expand. They're going to expand like that, and they're a bit of a weird looking country, to be honest. France is going to expand as well. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, France sympathizers. And when France expands, it will look like that. Next up, this little pinkish, reddish country will also expand, looking like that. Now, we don't have much room left, and that's because, it's also no room left. So first, this weird looking country right here will form, and that leaves only a bit of room left. And, I'm not exactly sure what happens here. Maybe it's just immigrants from countries who are looking for a bit more of a peaceful, not war future is going to move here, I guess. I'm struggling to find a color. They're gonna be orange, like a good looking orange. There's not that much orange here. Yeah, I think that's good. This is what Europe looks like, mostly like this Western Europe filled in. And obviously we're going to see wars happen to get rid of this. I'm sure world wars will happen at some point to screw all of this expansion up. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Over here, we're gonna see these Russias go to war again. I'm pretty sure they went to war last episode. But this gray Russia will move in, immediately capture a major city, and they will move towards the capital. And the Gray Russia is far more superior to this smaller Russia, and they will capture the capital, and this country will surrender. Inside of the peace treaty, they are just annexed, and then Russia is going to go on a bit of an expansion arc thing. First, they're going to move into this kind of area and fill in all that. Then they're going to move everywhere else and expand. However, I don't like those borders. There we go. That looks a little bit better. They're going to expand through there, and then finally they're going to do a bit of expanding right over here, and they're going to take over all of that. And now Russia is seen as pretty big, and I have to remove this capital. There we go. This capital is gone, and Russia is also going to add some major cities, and so will everywhere else. All right, this is what the major cities look like. I even added some to like Ukraine. And now the capital cities for the new countries, it's right over here. This one here, and I think that's all the new countries. Obviously, we have these ones down here. Their capitals will be right there and right there. But that's about it, I believe. Continuing up here, we're going to see Finland, work together with Norway to expand, or not expand, explore and expand. They're going to work together with all that stuff. But they're going to explore, and they're going to send some brave explorers up here into the Arctic Circle to explore that. And once that's fully explored, they're like, okay, we do in fact know that this is an ocean, not just a little bit of a bay. And after that, this Finnish country is going to expand. There's no rivers, there's only just lakes that hurt my eyes. So they're going to expand. They're going to expand a lot. They're pretty strong. They're working with Norway, which is, as we know, I'm pretty sure it's number 5 or something. But their two little claims are going to be connected by land. Before they were just connected by water, but now they can be connected through land. Norway is also going to do a bit of expanding after that. Not expanding, exploring, my bad. So they're going to, how are they able to explore it? Well, they are going to go on a bit of a Viking run, okay? So they're going to turn into some Vikings. They have been working up on their navy for a long time, and they're going to move out west. A brave soul by the name of Ash Clark Du Clark is going to sail western way through here, and he's going to go up north a little bit, and he's going to see Land Ho. He's going to go, Land Ho! And his entire crew is going to hop off, and they're going to find Iceland. After finding Iceland, they're going to explore all of it, and they will go sail back. Ash Clark Dune Clark is going to go back through where he came, and he's going to go into the capital, and he's going to declare a new island being discovered over here. And they are going to make a statement saying, hey, there's an island over here. If anyone wants it, come take it, because we don't want anything besides one small little harbor. I would personally call this a bit more of a colony than a harbor, but yeah, whatever. But which country will decide to move in and take this? The country will be none other than Scotland. I know, it's kind of surprising, these guys are a bit weak. But they're up there. They're like, I'd say like 18th in power rankings. The lowest country of all, that's hard. Probably one of the Mongolian ones, but it also could be like Gambia or something. I don't know. That's a hard one. I would go with orange or lime right here because those are the newest ones. Because we don't really have that many weak countries. I mean, this one right here, they're small. That doesn't mean they're weak. They're in a pretty historical place. But anyway, Norway, their Vikinging does not stop here. Just because they were moving in through there does not mean that they're done. So Dunklok Hunklock, the son of the past guy, because I don't remember his name, Dunklock Hunklock will move in all the way back to this colony. So once Dunklock Hunklock makes it to the colony, he gets ready for the next voyage out west because he believes there's more stuff out west, which in fact he is correct. But he moves out west and he sets sail. He goes up north and he finds Greenland. He lands there and he explores, and he finds absolutely nothing. So he leaves. In fact, he unexplores all of it. Yep, that's right. No, of course I'm kidding. He stays for a little bit. He explores, but they're not going to stay for too long because of how freaking freezing it is. However, there is a big group, and they do pan out and explore. However, they leave, and they make an announcement of a island or a continent. They're not sure which one it is. However, they believe that it is a continent. It's next to a continent. Anyway, that's all they're going to do. But now we have North America is a bit discovered. Isn't that cool? They should have stayed to get the oil for later. I mean, the amount of oil that will help them, like there's 100% oil, bro. I mean, one country is already trying to get that oil. I mean, I'm not going to say which country it is that's trying to get the oil, but I mean, I kind of outlined them. Alright, but moving into Africa, we're going to see a country joining an alliance. This is a temporary join, and that's because they are joining a war. This country is already in this alliance. In an alliance, okay. This country is Algeria, and they're trying to join, the Diamond Alliance, and in fact, they will. So they are going to just be in two alliances at once. That's normal, I guess, in this time. But the country alliance that they will be joining is none other than the Diamond Alliance. I mean, I think that's kind of obvious. It's the only other alliance in Africa. So, just like that, they are in two alliances. However, they're only in this Diamond Alliance for a little bit. And that is because they are declaring war, this Diamond Alliance, and it is not on Libya. They are going to war with Rome. Yep, that's right. They decided to go to war because, well, number one, they're the most vulnerable that they have ever been. They lost their capital region, and they're trying to get these African claims because they do not want any European powers inside of whatever this place is called, Africa. They haven't had any European powers in here since Spain had Morocco. However, Spain wasn't even good at that time. They were good, but like they weren't like powerful. So with that, we're going to see them move in, and in fact, they are going to make a really good advance. Even they themselves are surprised that they're able to make such an advance. They're going to move in, capture the capital. They're not capital, the major city right here. And this is going to be a combined army of Sudan and the Nile. I'm just going to use one color to make it simple. But this army is going to move in through this unclaimed land, and I really got to start filling in this map a little bit more. But they're going to make the long walk all the way over to their claims here, and they're going to arrive inside of this thing, and they're going to move in, and they're going to just start sweeping down. And just like that, most of the African claims are already captured. In fact, all of it is captured. Yep, that's right. They're next going to move in to Sardinia, I think. And now Rome is going to start their counteroffensive because what the heck, guys? What are you doing? They're, all of their military, or most of their military at least, was, placed where, that thing is going to happen. They have this plan to attack a certain country, and now we do know that it's not an African country because, well, they weren't able to fight back against these guys because their military was elsewhere. But now that their military is here, they're going to fight back against them, kick them out of Sardinia, and land in Carthage. This battle is one of the biggest battles we've seen in history. Hundreds, if not thousands, die. A massacre is pulled off by Algeria, and they massacred the citizens of Carthage, killing them inevitably. What? But they are not able to make an advance here, and for the first time ever, they are kicked out of their own land. However, they are able to make their advances down south right here, and they kick them out of the southern area, but they hold back up here. Next, we see them push against the Nile, and they attack them like so. Rome specifically states that they are only a defense and they will not be planning on taking any land. They are just trying to keep their own land. And the reason they have is there is no reason. They're just saying that. However, there is a literal reason because when they attack this country, they plan on fully annexing it. So they're going to push back against these guys here, and they're going to just get kicked out, and they're going to slowly but surely kick them out of here. And that's why you guys don't mess with Rome, and they're not able to fight back against Algeria, in fact, which is kind of sad. However, they will declare peace. So in this peace treaty, first we're going to see these guys leave that military alliance. If I can figure out how. There we go. And for the rest of the peace treaty, it will just be Algeria getting land. Here is our peace treaty. Inside this peace treaty, Algeria takes land from Rome. This is the first time Rome has ever lost land, besides the flood. But Rome will keep this little coastline here, so they don't get much of a coastline. They only get a bit more. However, they do take Carthage. In my opinion, they deserve it. They massacred practically the entire Roman population of Carthage. So that sucks for Rome. But that is only the first Punic War. Yep, that's right. This is called the Punic War because, well, it's basically Carthage versus basically Rome. So I thought that was kind of cool. And we're going to move into Turkey here, and Rome is going to finish taking all the stuff that they need to here. And Orange is also going to finish off this area. And I don't like that border, but that sucks because that's what they agreed on last episode. And there's no change in last episode. But the Nile and Sudan, just after leaving war and getting beaten up, they're going to cope by attacking Libya. These two will go to war with Libya. Yep, that's right. They're going to send a formal declaration of war, so this is not going to be a surprise attack. And they're going to move into Libya. However, immediately they're going to get pushed back. Libya is going to move in on most fronts, all fronts pretty much. And just like that, the Nile is going to go, what is happening? They just lost terribly against Rome, and now they're losing against Libya, a country that they did not even know existed only a few months ago. Only after a few weeks, Libya has moved in this far, and they're already moving in further. They're aiming towards the capital region, and they are reaching it. And the Nile and Sudan are going to surrender. So let's take a look at this peace treaty. Inside of this peace treaty, we see Libya taking over all of this land, and then after that, they're going to expand just a little bit. And Libya is becoming rather large, especially compared to the Nile, who is now very small. But the Nile is very, very confused as to how they just lost so terribly. And they're going to take a look at their population, and they're going to know the answer. That's right, the plague has spread so much in this region because of the Suez growing that they are literally losing wars because of it. Let me talk to you about this. So, what happened was the Suez is here. That kicks people out of that area. And then also we have trade going through the Suez. Before we had trade going through the Suez, but now we have major trade going through the Suez. And after the world hears about this, we are going to see major work on getting rid of this plague. And the first country to do so is Red. The entire episode, they have been working on doing this, and they have only started, it is only, gonna work now. So, first, up here, that disappears, and then over here, this has also disappeared. I'm not exactly sure, what happened. They figured out, basically, cow milk, after being in the sun for 2 hours is the cure, or at least the vaccine to this plague. And after learning about that, they're going to share that with Blue and India, and that will help them get rid of the plague inside of their areas. I don't know if this is unrealistic that it's going away this fast, but to be honest, it shouldn't have even started in the first place. I don't know if that makes sense either. But then it's going to disappear over here and right here. And they're also going to share this with Rome. Quickly, it will go away after they tell the populace. And after telling the populace, it will expand further through trade and word. The next place to go is Morocco, and then it goes into France, where it disappears here as well. And last but not least, Africa is going to lose the plague. So the plague is they are aware why the plague happened, and that is because of the refugees from the flooded areas moved in with other people, and they know that that's a bad thing to do. The only unanswered thing right now is, how did those floods happen? They do not know how it happened. However, everyone's going to ignore that they just figured out how to solve the plague for just a little bit. Because one of the most unexpected things is happening. Rome is finally attacking the country that they have been setting up to attack for a while. And honestly, it's unexpected because these two, they used to be friends. They used to be in the same alliance. I think it was military alliance, but I'm sure it was economic alliance, but I'm not sure about military. And they were the ones who set them up. If you know history well, you know that it was Cyan. Cyan was originally made because Rome heard about what happened over here in Orange, and they were trying to stop themselves from expanding. However, since then, they have grown to become a big and vast empire, and for them to be able to expand further into Europe, they're going to need to get rid of Cyan. So, painfully, they're going to sadly have to get rid of their best friend. They've been friends with this country for so long, but it's time to get rid of them. First, they're going to move in right here, take over a major city, and start taking over the second one. And their capital is, kind of screwed. It's right next to Rome. Rome is going to capture the capital, and they're going to move up through here and capture all this. Cyan was not expecting this. However, they still are going to put up a bit of a fight. They're going to push back a little bit through here, but Rome is going to push back even further, and there seems to be absolutely nothing that they can do. However, they're going to call for aid from a rather new country. This orange one right here is going to move into Rome and start attacking Rome. Rome just cannot take a break with all these wars, and as you can see, they're not doing good because this orange one is pretty dang strong. They're able to move pretty far down, and that is going to stop once Rome is able to push back against them, and they're going to fall all the way back, and then Rome will start pushing in once again. Rome is now pushing into both of these countries, and honestly, this is not good for them. After losing their capital, Orange here will surrender. Cyan's puppet state will collapse, and it will no longer exist. They will break away. Honestly, this should have happened a little while ago because now Cyan is literally not even bordering the puppet state. I know this is similar in color to Germany. That's fine. Just ignore it. Through this new front over here with Orange, Rome is going to push in through here, attacking these areas, and this area will fall. And finally, this area will fall as well. And just like that, one of the oldest countries in the world is knocked off of the map. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see the peace treaty first. But that's pretty simple because they are both fully annexed. Orange wasn't part of the plan. They weren't planning on attacking Rome or Orange at all. However, that just ended up happening. And they might as well just take the land. And as you can see, Rome's empire is massive. You know what else is massive? My subscriber count. Yep, that's right. As of recording this, I'm at like 61 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. 64 actually. Thank you guys so much. Our next goal is like 75, I think. Anyway, sorry. Rome is now massive. And about their puppet state, I said that ignore it, and that's because this puppet state is too weak to be their own country, so they're going to turn to their neighbors. Number one, they're going to turn to Poland, and Poland is also too weak to try and take in new land just yet. They were able to expand because they, were too strong, or like they didn't have enough land. So they're going to turn into one of the oldest countries in the world, and Germany will accept them, and they will unite with Germany. If I am not in the right layer, oh shoot. They will unite with Germany, getting rid of their capital. So we gained a bunch of countries in Europe, and then we lost like 3. I don't know if you count that. But that orange country was short-lived. I don't know if we'll see them return. Probably not. We might one day. I don't know. After all that, though, Rome will expand just a little bit, and that's just to get rid of this, backwards panhandle. Is this also me just fixing up the borders? Not really, because they're also going to expand in places like this. So, that's what they look like now, and as you can see, Rome is absolutely massive. We have all of the Balkans. I think this is the Balkans. This is the Baltic, and then this is the Balkans, yeah. So this is Rome. They're doing pretty good. Their capital is literally in Rome now, which I find pretty cool. After all of that, Germany is going to expand slightly, and that's about it for Germany. Moving back into the Mongolian region, we're going to see more wars break out. But first, we're going to see something sweet and nice. Uh, we're going to see a country uniting. That is Green and this Lime one. They are in a military alliance together, and they need to become bigger, especially Green. They just want to get back at Red. And they are going to unite under one flag with two capitals. No, I'm not going to do that, actually. That's a pretty cool thing. I want to do that soon with a country. However, that just won't work out because, well, you know, this is a very old city here. There's no point in having one or two capitals. So, yeah, but now Green is a lot bigger than they used to be. And Green could have a redemption arc one day. Probably not today. We're also going to see Cyan do a lot of exploring. They're going to explore all of this, and they're also going to expand a little bit. Yeah, that's right. They're bordering up here with Lime. Not that they're going to go to war with Lime. I'm just saying that that's pretty cool that they're bordering with Lime, and that does make the world full circle in another way. But we're going to see another war break out, and this time it is between, I'm trying to decide, it's going to be between Gold and Pink. I was trying to decide who would be the one to attack Pink, but it's going to be Gold. And Gold is obviously the stronger one here. Otherwise, they would not be moving into Pink. But they're going to move in, and Pink is going to immediately surrender because they are scared. This country does not know how to function normally. And inside the peace treaty, they are annexed fully, and they are going to lose their capital. So we're continuing the theme of countries being fully annexed. Besides over here, ignore that. But and also here. Okay, sorry. We have a lot of themes of countries being fully annexed, like in Rome over here. Um, I don't know. Oh, okay, that was one time, I guess. But we're going to see another war break out, and this is a longly anticipated war, and it is the finale. Which one is stronger, Lime or Maroon? Let's see. Lime is declaring war on Maroon, and they say that they're declaring war on Maroon because of grudges. Yep, that's right, they hate each other. Who knew? So Lime is going to move in to Maroon, and just like that, their capital will be captured. However, Maroon is not going to surrender because look at how many more major cities they have. They're very strong. They're going to keep on moving in. Yeah, that's right, and they're also going to move into the panhandle of Red. Yeah, that's right. They did not realize that that was Red's panhandle. In fact, they thought they were just like a few, like 30 kilometers too far east. And they accidentally went into Red, and Red is now going to declare war on Lime. So Red is going to declare war on Lime. However, they're also going to declare war on Maroon, and that is the one they have no justification for. They don't have justification for moving into Maroon. However, they will move into Maroon. We'll capture this little area here, and Maroon has literally no fighting back. This major city here is under siege, and eventually it is captured. Before that, though, Red will move into Lime here, and they will take back that area, and then they will move into Lime as well. Moving up this area here, they're going to just fully capture all of this. They're also going to capture this right here. There's a bit of encirclement right there. That's like 100,000. No, whoa, hold on. Like 10,000 or so troops right there encircled. And Lime is going to get their capital captured through the Navy. And after that, they're going to surrender because what exactly are they meant to do here? Maroon, after losing their coastal areas, they're also going to surrender. And let's take a look at this peace treaty. Following what we've been seeing the entire time, we're going to see full annexation. And just like that, Red now has all of the Middle East besides over here, I don't know if you'd call this the Middle East. And then also, of course, down here in blue. We could deal with that later. I don't know. I'm not saying that there's going to be a war. No, of course not. They're like best friends over here, but whatever. So, just like that, they're gone. And that marks the end of an era. Yep, that's right. All of the Orange descendants are gone. However, don't forget, Ukraine and Orange are Orange descendants as well because they came from Maroon and Lime. because they wanted to reform orange. And in fact, this one is the same color as orange, which is pretty cool. So I guess orange is technically still kicking it. But the reason that they fully annexed these countries is because they wanted like full access to the Black Sea, which is logical, very logical in my opinion. They also wanted better trade with better like water trade with Rome, which yes, I know they're not in a military or economic alliance anymore. However, they still are good trading partners. But a quick disclaimer: this Cyan country is the strongest middle Mongolian Empire country. I guess technically this is a Mongolian Empire country because they have Mongolian Empire country stuff. And they are the strongest one, this Cyan thing. Just by the way. But a quick little thing here, we're going to see expansion. Yeah, that's right. I think this is the first time we're going to see expansion by these guys. It's because they're a bit cautious of it, because that's kind of how they formed, too much expansion. But the first to expand after Cyan is going to be this little thing here. They're going to expand like so. And then this thingy, this dark cyanish country, they're also going to expand. They're going to expand like so, taking over that area, and then they're going to move right over here, take over this. That's right, they're going to take over all of that. And this country right here is also going to move in, and they're going to take over all of that. Moving up north, this country is going to expand. They're going to look like this, and they're also going to take this. This one is also going to expand. Yeah, pretty simple. They're also going to expand northward like that. This cyan thing, whatever this is called, it's too weak to expand, so they're not going to expand. This red one, they're actually pretty strong, to be honest. They're going to expand, and just like that, they're pretty big. This, whatever color this is going to expand, and you may notice that they're expanding into unexplored lands. They're going to do some exploring really quickly. Yeah, they do a bunch of exploration. Pretty cool. But the rest of these Mongolian Empire countries, they are weak, they have poor diplomacy, and they have inherited dysfunction from whatever country this was, the one right here. However, this one, being really close to Red Team, they in fact trade with Red Team, because there's a major city, because this is what Pink's capital used to be, and then, you know, Cyan's capital is right across from that. And Cyan trades with Red a lot. And we're going to see a big mutual relation form between Ukraine, Red, and Cyan, so that means all three of them like each other equally, and they're all good friends. One last thing before we go, we're going to see Bangladesh expand. Bangladesh hasn't done anything since they formed, and now they're going to do something. This entire episode, they've been working on expanding, and now they are pretty dang big. That's right, they're going to take all of this, but they are not done just yet. They're also going to move down this way and start taking over land. And let me just fix up this border really quickly. There we go. This thing, whatever it's called, Bangladesh, has been working on expanding this entire episode. And one last thing, or two last things actually. Number one, all these countries around the Himalayas have been working really, really hard. And finally, the Himalayas are explored. Is that because I didn't want that giant gray thing on the map? No, actually, it's because there's good technology now. And, you know, it's pretty cool to explore, I feel like, you know. Moving over to China, they're going to expand. China's a really strong country, by the way. They formed around a bay. They have really good trading and stuff. So they're really strong. So they're going to take over all of this land and then more. They're going to take over this and this. And China's really dang big. One final, I swear, I promise you, this is the final thing, is a new country is going to form. This country is going to be right here, and they're going to form like so, looking like that, and they're also going to have this little island right there. So, they're pretty big. Anyway, we're going to move into Europe, and like how I said that there was a lot of countries here. Well, we're going to gain one less. France hasn't done anything since they fell apart a few episodes ago. In fact, they might have been invaded. I'm not sure. But this country, they got invaded by this little blue guy. And, well, they're going to get invaded again by France. So, France is going to move their army, and this army has cobwebs all over it because it has not done anything in years. France is going to move in and move their army in. Let me turn on this. There we go. They only have one other major city, and they're going to it's going to be a 10-hour long campaign. They are not invading this guy up here. Like I said, though, this is going to be a 10-hour long campaign, and they're just going to just easily move in through here. And it shows that either number one, France is still very dominant, or number two, this country is very weak. And I think, honestly, it's probably number two. but this country gets fully annexed. And let's remove that capital, and we are done here. Except we're not done here. We're just going to move over here. And Russia is going to, I think, the first ever invading of a country. They've never invaded a country before, and they're going to invade this refugee state. Why? Because these are refugees from Russia. So Russia is going to take their army, which hasn't been used at all yet, unless, like, I don't know, peacekeeping forces. But this army is going to move in, and this is not going to be a 10-hour long campaign. It's going to be multiple days, probably a few weeks. And these guys have no major cities, so for them. I mean, they probably do have major cities. It's just I haven't, drawn them in yet. But their capital is taken, and they surrender. No, they actually don't surrender because this is a refugee state, and they want their sovereignty. Remember, Russia is kind of almost a dictatorship. Not really a dictatorship. Like, they're not, like, literally a dictatorship, but they are not a, like, nice country. There's, like, personal taxes, which basically means that some of these taxes that these people are paying just go straight to the leader, and also the leader just does dictator-like things. But after they get split in two, they're going to capitulate over to Russia. And inside of this peace treaty, we see them getting fully annexed, because if they don't get fully annexed, what else would happen? Also, I don't have provinces drawn in for them, so that sucks. Speaking of provinces, I'm actually redoing them right now because I didn't like how they looked. So I'm redoing them all right now, and I'm going to get rid of most of them. I'm definitely going to get rid of Rome's, and I'm definitely going to get rid of India's. However, I don't know what else I'm going to get rid of. I'm probably going to get rid of almost everything. I also added this giant thing right here, and for fun, because I wanted a giant province somewhere. Okay, anyway, this German country hasn't done a lot, and usually when they do stuff, they get very much so humiliated. However, not this time, because they're going to take their army and they are going to move it in. This army is going to move in, and after just a little bit, there is a stalemate, and they're unable to move their army anymore. So they will agree to a peace treaty with this Lime country, and they meet inside of Pink's capital. Inside of this peace treaty, they agree to this. And Germany's borders, I don't think have ever looked good, but if only they were to, like, invade Pink and Poland, then they would look better. I'm not saying that I'm going to have them invade Pink and Poland, but I'm just saying that they look really bad. Also, what if I adjusted Rome's color? Because it really looks bad on the map to me. This is, like, a really big adjustment for this guy, but I think it's a really needed adjustment. I think this is better. Yeah, this is better. I really needed this adjustment. It hurt my eyes. Rome did. Like, the purple on everything, it just looks so bad. I think that looks really good. And also, now we can tell the difference between Algeria and Rome. Yeah, that's a lot looking a lot better. Jeez. Oh my god. But Germany must have heard the words of the god, aka me. And they are going to go to war with Poland. Poland hasn't used their army ever. However, that does not mean that their army is bad. I swear, we're always just going to see little pieces of Rome everywhere. Yeah, look, right over here. I think we're good. Anyway, Poland, they're going to move their army in. Pulling up the major cities map, they probably should be going up north. However, the army, it's like a stalemate up here. However, it's Poland's doing good down here. Poland's going to keep on pushing in, and they're going to do like a bit of a sweep down through here. And after that, they reach over here, and it's pretty much just a stalemate. Germany is going to try to invade in. However, they get kicked out pretty fast, and now it's just a stalemate, and no one's moving. However, Poland, they moved. If I can get the right color. Poland moved just a little bit, and now the front lines are looking a bit like this, and no one is moving at all. So, once again, Germany is going to sign surrender. Oh, no, they're not going to surrender. Poland is going to say, hey, would you like to surrender before we, kick your butt? Because we've taken all your southern, and there's nothing else you could do. And Germany will reluctantly agree. So once again, they're going to probably meet in Denmark's capital this time. Germany's still very salty about Denmark, by the way. Just wanted to point that out. But inside of this peace treaty, Germany is going to lose this southern half here. Please say I have provinces for this. No, of course there's not provinces. Okay, so this is what the new borders look like. Oh, of course the provinces are up north. Okay. But I guess now Germany's borders are kind of fixed because they don't have this weird thing that's just hanging out at the bottom here. They're just, like, really bent. They look like a backwards C. Just invade Pink already. Oh my god, Germany. Inside of the British Isles here, we're going to see our Daily Britain update happen. The Daily Britain updates haven't been too much fun recently because it hasn't been happening too much recently. And also there's more exciting things across the world like Russia and the Mongolian Empire. But anyway, these fronts are going to happen, and they're going to make a little bit of a naval landing right here, an amphibious landing, and they're going to push in like this. They're going to keep on pushing in, and this Cornwall country is going to surrender. Inside of this peace deal, they truly do become Cornwall because they are, like, in Cornwall now. But now we barely have any countries on the British Isles now. We have 4 on the British Isles and one very small one. I think that this is the most united it has ever been. Alright, moving just south, we're going to go to the Iberian Peninsula. Spain is very mad at Catalonia because they really want these border disputes here. Why do they want them? I have no idea. There's not even that much population besides for this major city area. This border dispute right here, absolutely no population. There's like barely anyone living here. It's right outside of the major city, and most people live inside of the major city. But yeah. But Spain is demanding these provinces go to, Spain and Catalonia, and their alliance with, Dublin and whatever country this is saying no. Tensions are escalating, and, well, we could see a war happen between a power and an alliance, right next to another war that could happen between a power and an alliance. I'm also going to shift Spain's color. I don't like it. I like that, but Spain isn't meant to be orange. I think we just keep it because there's nothing else we could do, really. Anyway, just south of this, it's very weird. We're just staying in the exact same area. Just after this, Morocco is going to invade this little country right here. What I don't even remember how this country formed. I think it was some sort of refugee country. But it's completely irrelevant. Oh, and these islands should have been explored like long ago. So have these islands been explored? Yeah, my bad, guys. I'm a little bit outdated on these. Anyway, Morocco is going to attack. They're going to push in through the south or west here, and they're going to, kind of just sweep through. They're going to encircle the capital, do a big encirclement. And, well, they're kind of screwed. The capital will fall, however, they're not going to surrender just yet. Then Rome is going to decide to keep on invading, and this time they're going to open up a new front in this northern area, and they're going to just sweep through the country. Connecting both of the fronts ended it. It was the end of this country, and they collapse. In this peace treaty, it's going to happen, I don't know, probably on this island right here. Morocco is going to take it all. Let's get rid of that capital city. And also, one more thing. Spain, looking for more land, they're going to grab these islands. They are also going to go up north a little bit, and they have found this island as well. Don't worry, that also includes the neighbor. They have both of those islands. But as you can see, Morocco is becoming pretty big. Speaking of becoming pretty big, they're going to expand. They're going to expand in 3 areas. One is going to be right down here, the other is going to be right here, and the other is going to be right here. I really don't like their border between West Africa. However, I do have plans here. And you might be questioning what that is because they are in the same alliance. So, I don't know. Guess. But as you can see, Morocco is absolutely massive. West Africa hasn't expanded in years, and they're going to expand for the first time ever. Well, obviously not the first time ever. They've expanded once before, but the first time in a long time. And officially, they are connected to these more southern countries right here. And oh god, the border gore. I hate it. So what are these? They also apparently both agree on me with this border gore because we are seeing something massive happen. The African Union is forming. That is right. Between Morocco and West Africa, not Carthage. Carthage really likes their sovereignty, but West Africa it's strong nonetheless, but it could be better. So they are going to form the African Union between Morocco and themselves, and this is not because of this border war. I promise you, I had this plan before I did these borders. I plan out my entire episode before I do it, so like that way it's just better. But anyway, they're going to unite with Morocco, and now I'm seeing a lot of red on this map. We have a giant red over here. We have a medium-sized red over here, and then a giant red over here. It's more purple. And then we also have a giant red over here. Wow, it's always the red. That's like powerful. And anyway, after doing that, they're going to take these islands. Because why not? It's just fun to take islands, especially when we're setting up, the exploration and expansion into the Americas. And after that, they're going to expand just a little bit to fix up these borders a little bit. And boom, shakalaka, they look like that now. And this country is absolutely massive. And I'm going to call these guys the African Union, by the way, and they do not have dual capitals. I really want to do that with some sort of union. I think this is the first union ever. No, there was the lime and red union. But this is probably the second union ever, I think. Maybe. Now there's a union right here, so this is the third union ever. As you can tell, unions are becoming a little bit more popular. But basically, I really want to do a dual capital union. And this is not, Morocco taking over West Africa, by the way. This is them uniting into one country. They both agreed to do this. Alright, but we're going to see a new treaty happen inside of Southeast Asia between Korea and Vietnam. This is called the Treaty of the Filipino Islands, and they're going to meet in Taiwan to sign up this treaty. Inside of this treaty, it will decide who gets what inside of the Philippine Islands. Korea gets this thing right there, this thing, all this right over here, this massive island, this island right here, this island right here, this island right here, and then a pretty large colony right here. So as we can see, Korea is becoming pretty massive, and Vietnam is going to take the rest. Now I know what you're saying. Why the heck did Korea get more? And that's because, well, Vietnam knows that they pretty much have all of this area to themselves, and well, they're going to collapse if they try and take it all to themselves, so they're not going to take too much from the Filipino Islands, and just like that, it's going to be split between a faraway power and a relatively close power. And by the way, this island right here has open borders between uh Vietnam. So Vietnam is allowed to pass through this island to get to theirs by land, by the way. However, for the rest of them, it's open waters but not open borders. They can't go into the islands unless they have like explicit permission or some sort of passport or visa or whatever. And military is allowed access through this island, like I said, but then not through any other island. All right, but moving back into Europe and, well, just Mediterranean in general, we're going to see the Rome-Carthage incident. This will be the Second Punic War. Rome sends an insult to Carthage, and it's about the leader's wife. And Carthage doesn't take this too easily. Right next to it, however, Spain declares war on Catalonia, and Catalonia activates their alliance because they know that they cannot fend off Spain by themselves. Let me turn on the alliance layer really quickly. So here, as you can see, Catalonia is going to call in both of their allies right here, and now it is a war of the Octagon, I think, yeah, Octagon Alliance against a great power. And now we also have the Triangle Alliance against Rome, once again an alliance against a great power. And the Nile and Sudan will join the war on the Triangle Alliance's side, because they still want to somehow attack Rome. They will probably only be supplying them for now until they get a direct border with them. Libya. But Carthage is the only one that actually borders Rome besides Libya. And Carthage is going to be pushing in. Carthage, a great, powerful country. Look at you moving in like that. They are going to move in through here and attack all throughout this, and they're going to make a good sweeping campaign down like this. And these holdings are overrun. They are quickly annihilated. The western half falls, and Rome is panicking because what the heck are they meant to do? In the meantime, they take over Malta as coping mechanisms. But in panic, they are going to look for an ally, and well, who goes to their front door or whatever? Libya does. I don't know if I was hinting at it a second ago, but yeah, Libya's joining. And just like that, the Circle Alliance will be forming. This is only a temporary alliance, probably. I just want to point that out. But Libya is going to do the one thing they can do, and they're going to push into these other countries. So Libya, even though they're helping over here on the front line, they're only barely able to push back on this front line. However, over on their eastern side, they're able to do a lot of work. However, they're going to have a counteroffensive, and they are going to get pushed all the way out of their territory. That's right, Libya is gone from, like, their territory, and they are going to start pushing back in. The Nile makes a good sweeping campaign, and this is going to be the combined army of the Nile and Sudan. And this legendary campaign is going to last for about a week. And that's because they make a counteroffensive and push them all the way back once again. Libya is going to push back in. Into the Nile, they're going to do a lot of work. Let me turn off the alliance layer really quickly. And they're also going to do a lot of work inside of Sudan. So the Second Punic War is pretty crazy. And Libya is going to keep on pushing in there, approaching the capital. Over here in Carthage, Libya and Rome, they're not able to do much. It's very hard to fight, for Rome to fight across waters. And either way, this this area of here, it's been very unstable for a long time. And Carthage is just going to keep on pushing through. And just like that, the final day is the fight for Rome. And Libya is going to try their hardest, which will allow the Nile to push back a lot. and Carthage will finish off Roman Africa, I think we could call it. But once that's done, they're going to not be able to start an offensive into Libya because, well, they're not able to fight Libya because they are too strong. I'm not saying that they're like insanely strong, but like they're just not able to push into Libya for like, reasons that they're too strong. And Rome will say to Carthage, "Hey, look, this was a good fight you put up, and it's a good fight we all put up, but we're done. We're not able to fight. Um, it's too hard for us. Can we just sign a peace treaty?" And they go over to Cyprus right here. They go into this major city and they sign. No, they go into Crete. They go into Crete and they sign a peace treaty inside of Crete. And this peace treaty looks like this. This is a big peace treaty, so let me just go through it all at once. Carthage is going to take over all of this, all of that. So that means that Rome is officially kicked out of Africa fully. The First Punic War was just kind of like a dent. They were given a dent and they were kind of kicked out of Africa, like literally just barely. But now Carthage is giant, and in fact, why not just make it even better? And they will move their capital because, well, they've been setting up a certain area for a while now, and that's right, their capital is moving to none other than literally Carthage. We have a lot of resemblance in this world, I think. I think it's just because of, how strategic some of these places are. Like, number one, Carthage is on a mini peninsula inside of the Mediterranean. Yeah, Rome is just like a great place to have it, and it's a lot of mirroring of our real world. But moving down here, Libya is going to take this amount of land from the Nile, or I mean Sudan, and I'm sure they won't take too much from the Nile. Okay, never mind. They're going to take practically all of the Nile. And the Nile is reduced to, barely anything. They've lost some of their original land they got when they like first formed. And from this, the Nile is no longer able to function as well as they could, and they're looking to unite. So the first thing they'll do is sell the rest of Sinai Peninsula over to Red because they cannot hold it. It's too far across the waters, and most of the time inside of the Suez Canal, we see, literal ships just going through. So yeah, they're not able to hold that. And for the rest of it, they're going to request to unite with Sudan. And Sudan agrees. So we could see this unification happen looking like this. However, that's not going to happen because Red steps in one more time. Red blocks the unification, and Red threatens annexation if the unification proceeds. Sudan will back down, and Red will take control over the rest of the Nile. That's right, these were former allies, and Red has now taken them over. And gee, I really do need to change the color of Libya. There's too much red. I think that's a good color. We could do that. There's just a lot of red. But anyway, moving up north, this war, the Catalonia and Spain war right here, that is going to happen at the same time as the Second Punic War. It's just I had to do, one and then the other. I couldn't do both of them at the same time. So Spain is going to move in. The first thing they're going to do is take over the areas of where they want. And that goes pretty successfully. They even take a major city while they're at it. And Spain will continue moving up right here, and they will capture Catalonia's capital and the major city right north of it. However, whatever this is called, Catalonia and their allied forces will march down eastern Iberia, and they will not stop. They march all the way down here before they send in more troops, and the border thickens up even more. And Spain is going to declare white peace. And inside of this peace treaty, we see Spain taking over these border disputes that they were requesting. However, Catalonia, I think, did a lot better because now they are absolutely massive. And they take over all of the eastern Iberian coast, making Spain a lot less powerful. However, they're still very powerful. They're just crying in the corner because they're very sad. And now they are looking further west because, they have nothing else to do. They can't even go east anymore. They can't, they can barely trade with Rome. Originally, they kind of just went like this. They kind of just went through here and landed in there. However, now they're going to have to go like this, kind of, to trade with Rome, and then they're able to trade. Moving over here, we're going to see China tell all of these guys, hey, we're going to need to expand a lot if we want our trade routes to be able to link up. You may notice that there aren't really trade routes. The trade routes go all the way around the coast, and it's not very ideal. It's very annoying. And China just wants to be able to go like this. It's very simple. So they're going to coordinate a bunch of expansion by all these guys. So inside of this treaty, we see not that, but we see this happen. Each one is going to take over a lot of land, and just like that, Southeast Asia is very, very full. In fact, I think it's actually completely filled up now. But with that happening, they are going to start working on this new trade route, and the trade route is going to look like this, and then it will be internationalized. And well, it's pretty big now over here. And well, now we're going to see something non-catastrophic happen. So this has been happening across the whole entire episode. By the way, this is happening for the last few episodes. However, I just wanted to do it all at once. This has been happening ever since episode 10. Like beginning of episode 10, which was right after the floods, and these floods have been receding. The only one that I have covered is India because, well, I just wanted to show that yes, they can recede. However, lots more floods have been receding. So let's take a look at that. This flood over here will recede completely, and just for the sake of it, I'm going to move China's capital. It's going to be moved right here because it looks better right here. There we go. This one up north here will also recede. This flood over here will recede. What the hell happened? There we are. There we go. I fixed it. Okay, and then the Bangladeshi flood over here, that recedes. I think I accidentally botched up this border here, but it's fine. The rest of India's floods have receded, which includes this one, and this one. Red's early flood over here recedes. Red's flood right here recedes. Red's Euphrates Lake right here, that recedes. Libya's flood recedes. Floods over here receded. Surprisingly, Rome's flood in, the peninsula and over here in Sicily have fully receded. The flood over here in the Strait of Gibraltar has almost fully receded. It doesn't fully recede. Originally, the land was a lot closer than it is right now. However, it receded in a way that it's still kind of like that. Over here in blue, their floods right here recede. Surprisingly, Red's capital is back, and so is Qatar. France's flood has receded. And now that means that the only flood that remains is in the Suez Canal, and that's only because of conditioning. Oh, shoot. The flood in Crimea also recedes, which means that the only flood remaining is over here in the Suez, and that is only due to conditioning. It's kind of like what they do over here in the Netherlands in the real world, how they kind of like have to spit out water. In this scenario over here, they, spit in water, and that is because of how helpful it has been for trade. It made a bunch of, prosperous help and stuff everywhere. And I'm telling you that in probably like 75 episodes or something like that, you will understand why these floods happened. Yeah, probably not exactly 75 episodes, but towards the end of the series, you guys will understand why these floods happened, how they happened, what caused them to happen, and just all of that stuff. So make sure to stay tuned until the end of the series. But moving up north, by the way, this is not just all at once. This happened across, multiple episodes ever since episode 10. I just only wanted to wait until episode 13 to do it. But up here in Norway, they're going to do the first ever time that they've ever used their military, I think. Oh my god, if I can control the mouse. They are going to invade this weird looking green state right here because it is, very weak and it's in their way of the resources that they want. So they're going to move in and quickly, within a day, take the capital, and then within 2 days, take over the rest of the country. And they fall over to whatever country this is, Norway. Just like that, we can get rid of their capital. But they are going to, they're going to look east at Russia, and they're going to go, oh, damn, maybe we should have done a little bit more than just invade that, because, Russia is a pretty expansion state, and you're going to see the term expansionist become very, very relevant in like a second. So the first thing they're going to do is explore, and you might be wondering, I'm grabbing out my size 100 brush. That's how much they're exploring. They are going to start off their exploration, and they're going to explore all of this. They're even going to find this Arctic island up here. And, well, once they get too far into whatever this place is called, they're going to have to stop. Also, Norway, they're going to go north, and they're going to find this thing, Svalbard. They're going to find Svalbard. And these little islands are also going to end up getting discovered. So, as we see, the world's getting discovered pretty rapidly. But Russia is going to expand. And they're going to have a giant expansion. Like, massive. They're also going to take these islands up here. And now you might be wondering, does this have backlash on the people? Yes, however, they're not going to do anything because this is a very, very bad leader. You do not want to make him mad. So they're not going to say anything. However, they're going to cry in their seats. What is up with cyan over here? They are very, very saturated. There we go. That's a lot better. They should not be that desaturated. And I believe at this point, Russia is now the largest country on the entire map. Pretty big. Wish they weren't gray because, well, there's a lot of gray over here and stuff. But it'll look good on thumbnails because I don't use gray in thumbnails. But moving just south of that area, we're going to go into green. And they're going to invade a country right next to them. There's 3, 4, 5 countries that they can invade. 2 of them we can just mark off because there's no way they're invading Red or India. They could invade gold, they could invade cyan, and they could definitely invade this purple country, and that's the country they'll be invading. They're going to move in, and they're going to just quickly take over a lot of this area and grab the panhandle right here. And let me just, grab the capital. Let me just tell you guys something. There's absolutely no love between any of these countries. Cyan does not fall under these countries anymore. They are just completely veered off because of how they were set up. Like, they were completely untouched by the original country, which is completely gone now. What the heck is this? There you go. It's on the major cities layer. So yeah. But anyway, they're going to continue pushing on. And then, this state is going to collapse. And, inside of this peace treaty, they're going to have barely anything left. So, inside of this peace treaty, Green's going to take all of that. And this little rest of it, it doesn't have capital, and that's because it's not going to exist for any amount of time. And that's because they are too weak to function, and they're going to unite with this country, or they're going to ask to be annexed by this country. So yeah, this country is getting big. And as we can tell, all these countries are getting pretty big over here. You know what? This is just going to be something that I'm going to do, and that's just because I hate these borders here. I'm sorry. It's not really. It's not, like, true to what's actually happening. Just pretend it was like this all along, okay? I just cannot bear to look at that border any longer. It's so freaking ugly. So yeah, that's what it looks like. And then, gold is... Yeah, they're just gonna sit here. Tibet. They appeared last episode. And, well, they are not going to look like they appeared last episode soon, because they are going to expand a lot. So first, they're going to expand and take over this area. Then they're going to expand and take over this area. Then they're going to look west and take over all of this. In fact, they're not going to look west and take over all of this. Gold is going to look south and take over all of this. Yep, that looks a lot better. But now Tibet and this other country are both absolutely massive. And China, looking for, just better life, they're going to get expanding a lot. So this is also probably after, like, a while, they're going to take over all of this, and they are absolutely massive. By the way, they do not only have major cities here. It's just I haven't updated the major city map in a long time. I'm going to do that later. So yeah. But we're moving over here to green. And green is going to go, hey, red. Oh, by the way, this is have absolutely nothing to do with what just happened up here. But green's going to go, hey, red. So there's this, like, land that we really want. They're going to request all of this land, about pretty much all that land. That's about, like, a rough drawing of what they want. And red is going to go, heck no. And, they're really mad because they're like, you expect us to even say yes to that? How much disrespect do you have for us? And, they're going to declare war on green. Yeah. However, before they can do anything, India will step in and go, whoa, dude, no. But they don't care enough, so green is going to move in just a little bit. And they're going to take over the southern kind of area right there. And red is going to do what they want to do. They're going to push them back up here. And after that, they're going to continue their sweeping front. And they're going to start pushing in through here with amphibious landings and push them out of their territory. Pushing them all the way out, they're going to continue pushing in through here, having a new southern front. And they're going to keep on sweeping. They're going to take the capital and the capital region around it. And, green's going to surrender. And let's take a look at this peace treaty. Inside of this peace treaty, they lose a lot of stuff, including their capital. They're going to relocate their capital up to here. That's just because I forgot to, get rid of it. And either way, it was already a capital before, so that's pretty good for them. And, now they don't have any... I don't think they even bordered the Caspian before, but if they did, they've lost that border. Moving over here, though, we're going to see India expand. India is going to expand, and now they look really big. And then one final little battle between, not battle, but like wanting for land up here. Bangladesh is going to expand, and they're going to take over all this. And this eastern Bangladesh one, in spite, is going to take this. And just like that, you are unable to expand over here. However, before Bangladesh is able to expand here, guess what? India moves in and takes that. Nope, that's a lie, actually. The land will be split. So, India is going to take this. Or, China's going to take that. Tibet is going to take this. And East Bangladesh is going to take the rest. Just like that, there's, like, barely anything else that you could do inside of, most of Asia. It's fully expanded into. And now there's just, like, Russian Asia, frickin' freezing this. Oh, wait, I didn't even realize. Europe is now completely filled in. So Europe was our first continent fully filled in. And then livable Russia, I guess, is the next continent fully filled in. and well, besides this over here. But either way, Laos was or Cambodia, whatever, is just expanded there like that. So yeah, that's pretty chill. And I guess these islands here, they're going to be taken over by that same country right there. And then Cambodia is also going to make a little colony right here, which is good for them. But moving over just west a little bit, we are going to see Blue finally do some invading. Blue has been a neutral country for however long as I can remember, until just the last episode, or maybe the episode before, I can't remember. Where, well, their leader was gone and a dictator came in place. And this dictator will teach his kids his ideas and his morals and what he wants, and then they will teach them and so forth. And unless this leader dies and the new leader that goes into place doesn't have the same ideas and as him. Blue's going to be like this for a long time inside of this dictatorship, and we've seen dictatorships pop up everywhere recently. We had Blue has one, Russia technically has one, and then there's a few more in other places, I think. But anyway, Blue, they're going to invade into these two countries right here. Starting off, they're going to push in through this one, and they're quickly going to take over this northern area. Then they're going to kind of sweep down the coast a little bit, and well, they're going to capture the capital, and this country will surrender, and then they will move into the second country, and they're going to start taking that over too. They are going to have this first northern front, and then their second front will be down here, and they will take the capital, and then they will just slam in through the north and the south fronts until they reach each other. And this is basically what I'm doing here is just showing you that Blue has absolutely no mercy. They will take over countries no matter what, and they will be fully annexed, both of these countries. And just like that, that will be the end of this episode. In this episode, we saw a lot of stuff happen. And that will be the end of this episode. So, inside of this episode, we saw a lot of things happen. Like the Second Punic War happened, and Rome got kicked out of Africa. The Nile is gone. This war over here between the border disputes that happened. We saw the floods recede. We saw Russia go on a massive expansion arc. And also, most of Asia is completely filled in now. We saw another war happen between red and green. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I hope you guys liked it. And, well, we're almost at the end of the medieval age. The end of that will be, the marking for the end of that will be once the Americas are found. And, I'll give you a little hint, that's going to be in the late teens, and we're approaching that pretty fast. We're on episode 13 right now. Next is going to be episode 14, which and it's going to come out on a Wednesday, because episode 12, or no, episode 11, wait, hold on. Episode 11 has just come out yesterday. I'm recording this the day after episode 11 came out. That's how ahead I am right now. So I'm going to have episode 14 come out this Wednesday, just for like fun, because I want to record it and do it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and I hope you guys liked it. And make sure to comment down any ideas you have, like, subscribe, and until next time, see ya.